Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, back in Titans Tower once again. We're talking here at episode 43. We're going to talk the episode Bruce Wayne. This is Bruce Wayne, the 7th episode of season 2, released on October 18th, 2019, written by Brian Edward Hill. Who's written for season 1. I forgot to write down the episode that he wrote in, but he wrote for season 1. Directed by Kiva Goldsman, who's one of the executive producers of Titans. The cast for this one, obviously is featuring the return of IAIN GLEN as Bruce Wayne, although it turns out to be not exactly Bruce Wayne. He's playing a little bit of a variation on the character because, hey, Dick's hallucinating. Because apparently he's got some mental illness, as it turns out. We get, of course, Kieran Walters as Jason Todd, Joshua Orpin as Superboy, Genevieve Agelson as the return of Dr. Eve Watson. So Nick and I were talking about whether we'd see her again. And I said, yeah, we're going to see her again. Sure enough, here she is. Natalie Gumede as Mercy Graves, Damar Barnes, as Wintergreen. And we get Deathstroke, Isai Morales' Deathstroke, but only in a really quick vocal cameo when he calls Dick Grayson. So no real new guest stars in this one, but obviously a lot of people central to this season 2 storyline. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts about it. What did you think about this one in general before we get started on our topics?
I rewatched it this morning. I ended up having some extra time. And so I knew there were some snarkiness that I wanted to capture. So I ended up rewatching it, getting some favorite quotes.
All right.
I didn't love this episode as much as the others, but I think this was an important stepping stone or building block in the story they're trying to tell. And this is, if this season is all about Dick's journey to be Nightwing, and I think we could make that argument, that's what this season is.
Right.
This is an important step of, the first step of any recovery is admitting you have a problem. And I think this episode was about Dick coming to grips with, monsters live in the dark, and the only way you can cleanse this wound is by cleaning it and letting sunshine in. Is that enough cliches there, you, Charles?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you pretty much hit them all in that one.
Yeah.
This episode structurally seemed to me more of kind of house cleaning with Dick Grayson's personality to kind of continue the shift from season 1, angry Dick and secretive Dick Grayson, into and having him deal with his past in order to set him up for his future.
Yeah.
And we know he's going to become Nightwing. So there's just so much baggage from the past, and obviously it's affecting the Titans, and Dick comes to this realization by the end of the episode, and we'll talk more about it here in a minute, that all their problems pretty much center around what he did back in the day, and the repercussions of that, and the secrets of keeping that. And it's obviously complicated things. It's affected all his relationships. Now, once he finally opens up to the Titans, we'll find out exactly how they deal with it and react to him. I'm guessing not great at first, but hopefully it'll work itself out. So
absolutely.
All right. So if you're ready to get into our main topics, I have 4 this week. No theme, but a couple of short ones, so it should even out, hopefully. Topic number 1, right off the bat, we have to talk about Dick and Bruce, or Dick and, in air quotes, Bruce, end quotes.
Yes.
Because turns out Dick's hallucinating, and the Bruce Wayne portrayed in this is not the Bruce Wayne we know. There's a lot of fun little Batman jokes throughout this episode, but it's not him. Apparently Dick's guilt over what he did is seriously affecting him mentally, to the point where now he's experiencing hallucinations, and maybe our man Grayson needs to go to a therapist of some kind.
Yeah, I did not take it as hallucinations, and I think you're right. I think it is hallucinations, but I thought of it as his mental conscience and his psyche trying to talk to him. I did not like this Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that. I mean, this is the cliche Bruce Wayne that you see sometimes, the uncaring, just cold-hearted, character. And we've established in the previous appearances of the real Bruce Wayne that is not their relationship. That is not they have gone past that. And Bruce truly loves Dick and he cares about him. Dick loves and cares about him. But in his mind, Bruce Wayne is still the angry critic that he can't satisfy. And Bruce Wayne is going to point every flaw out that he has. And if we wanted to do clever dialogue, we could print the script, and anytime it's Phantom Bruce Wayne,
yes.
Yep, that's a great line. Yep, that's a great line.
He does get all the great lines, yes.
I captured 2 or 3 that when we get to that part, but I thought IAIN GLEN was amazing in this snarky role. I mean, the scene where he's there at the club and he's dancing with the girls.
Right. Yeah, we definitely need to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you like this version of what they're trying to show, Bruce doing?
Well, I'd argue that this version of Bruce was essentially how it wasn't Bruce per se, it's how Dick views Bruce.
Absolutely.
It's basically Bruce Wayne through the Dick Grayson filter.
Yes.
And
the unkind filter.
Yes. Well, yes. Just there's a lot of their baggage from their relationship over the years. And so it essentially skews how Dick views his mentor. And essentially with this Bruce Wayne playing almost like a Jiminy Cricket conscience to Dick and how his reaction, and to give him someone to banter off of, he kind of had to be an exaggeration of Bruce, because this version of Bruce says things so bluntly that it's not consistent with the actual Bruce. So he'd have to almost be, in order to give that insight and to give that that cutting criticism.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Bruce Wayne, the actual Bruce Wayne, could be very critical, but as far as personal insight goes, Bruce isn't that guy.
No, and in fact, this almost felt like, and I don't know, maybe I'm sharing too much of myself, but at times I'll have dreams where a former boss or someone in my life who, and in that dream, they are so much worse than they actually were, but they become intensified.
Right.
And I think I agree with you. This is that Dick is not proud of himself right now. He is feeling the guilt of losing Aqualad. Garth has all come back. The idea of Jason almost dying, all the other things is just amplified this guilt. And now then he's got his self-hatred in the form of Ghost Wayne,
right?
On 11, on a scale 1 to 10, he's at 11.
Yeah, and that's a great point. it is a lot of self-hatred and self-loathing. And so that version of Bruce, that projection, that hallucination, is all of that.
Yeah.
Which obviously, it's essentially Dick arguing with himself and
Yes.
and hating on himself. And even when there's this line where after Dick walks off from the original Titans and leaves the tower while the others are in the kitchen, that hallucination of Bruce Wayne kind of lingers and makes a reference that what Dick is experiencing is a psychic split.
Yes.
So essentially, yeah, he's at war with himself. And again, this is a sign of mental illness that hopefully somebody should address. But obviously, and that's why at the end of the episode, when Bruce fades away, it's essentially at the moment when Dick finally confronts his guilt and starts opening up about it. So he's essentially, his mind is healing itself a little bit. But I have to think there's some residual stuff that needs worked out.
Yeah, and Bruce giving the guilt. This is why I sent Jason. Instead of training him, you ostracized him. You made him feel small. And there is that scene on the roof. And I know that's probably one of your topics, so I won't go there.
This is a whole, this topic number one. I want to talk about Dick and Bruce. So
Yeah. So when Dick makes the decision that the only way he can move forward and to save Jason is by starting to share of himself, he looks back at the fake Bruce, and IAIN GLEN plays it perfect. He has this smile of pride,
right,
as he fades away.
Yes, it's just like, finally you get it. I can go away now because you worked it out.
Yeah, and I thought that was, even though that's just in Dick's mind, I think that we are all chasing our parents, our mentors, our friends' approval in a lot of ways, and no one more than Dick Grayson. And so I just thought that was really well done, and that it's kind of, okay, I've taken that weight off. Now let's talk.
Yeah, and that's good.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we need to talk about the burlesque club, the Scarlet Rose Burlesque Club, and so this is essentially where Dick is trying to track down Wintergreen.
Yes,
and he gets it after going to this diner called the Skyline and meeting this guy with Benny. And he essentially coerces the information out of how to track down Wintergreen from him. And he goes to this burlesque club, meets this woman named Maddie Matisse, which obviously is a fake name.
Right.
And while he's kind of talking with her, we learn that her sister was killed. Maddie blames Wintergreen for that. And she's very reluctant to talk about it until Dick's talking about that. Hey, we have a common enemy here. So if you help me, I can go after them for you. And while this is going on, we see Bruce on stage with the burlesque dancers. And he makes this comment about, hey, all of this is for you. Like everything that I'm doing here is for you, to try to get you to work through that guilt.
Yeah.
And then he's essentially being a wacky Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
And he starts dancing with the burlesque dancers. Now, if you're a fan of the 1960s TV series, you may have recognized the particular dance he was doing, the Batusi. What did you think of that moment where IAIN GLEN's Bruce Wayne was doing the Batusi a la Adam West?
So I loved this so much.
Yeah.
Now I also thought of, there is Travolta kind of does that similar kind of theme in
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
But yes, I thought of this immediately and smiled, such a big smile. And I am so glad you brought that up, because it was, as we people who saw that, right, it was just greatness.
Yeah. Yeah. So for all of you younger viewers out there that aren't old as dirt like Jesse and I, you probably were wondering, okay, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
And yeah, he was doing this thing called a Batusi, and which was, Adam West did back in the 60s Batman show. So he's got the two fingers over both eyes, drawing them back like a mask. And then he's doing this whole hand thing where he's like putting on his gloves and shimmying around. And I just died at that. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, it was. You're right.
So
it
completely
was perfect.
Completely unexpected. But
yes,
given this particular Bruce Wayne hallucination, it was a hilarious moment, I thought. And it worked.
Good.
And it actually worked, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did too.
Because it didn't draw on long. It was just a fun little, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing the Batusi. But it was a lot of fun. Anything else about Dick and Bruce you want to talk about?
Nope, it was perfect.
Yeah, and Ian Glenn, credit to him, he's playing obviously a different version of Bruce Wayne. Now, a lot of fans have kind of criticized his American accent, and I kind of get that a little bit because, his dialect doesn't quite, he sounds a lot like an English actor trying to do an American accent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depending on how good the actor is at voices. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have kind of said that about Benedict Cumberbatch when he does an American accent. So, although I thought it was just fine as Doctor Strange, so go figure. It's just up to the person about whether they can.
I know, but just
acknowledge
it.
Yeah.
Go get over it. It's okay. I mean, he's doing so much else greatness, and you just
some people it stands out. Some people it stands out, and it draws them out of the story, and I get that. So if it's just certain people view it different ways. And, I respect that. So
I don't, Charles.
Okay.
I'm throwing it out there.
Ooh.
I don't. I'm saying they're nitpicky, little, shallow people, and I just don't understand it. Okay, but let's move on.
All right. Well, I'm gonna respect our listeners that actually view that differently. So
I don't think any of our listeners are that petty or feel that way.
Okay. All right. This week's episode here at episode 47, we're going to talk EL_O.
Yes.
And the underscore has another letter that it references. So it's not quite ELO, but
no, it's not.
But it's pretty close. I'll give you that.
Yes.
All right. So so this just is the 11th episode of Titan Season 2. Just came out on November 15th, 2019, just a few days ago.
Hey.
So let's get started right
Topic
off the
number 1.
Thank you, Ed McMahon. So everybody under the age of 30, go ahead and look up Ed McMahon on the internet right now.
Absolutely.
All right. So topic number 1, we got to talk right off the bat. Dick and I'm putting this in air quotes, Bruce. Because once again, it's not actual Bruce Wayne that's talking to Dick Grayson. It's a hallucination. This time, yes. A fever-induced hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get your thoughts right off the bat. What did you make of the Dick and Bruce scenes in this episode?
So, Charles, the first thing I want to say is I am going to let go how we got Dick in the current predicament.
Right.
I'm just we're going to pass up the fact of that stupid storyline. Yeah. It is what it is. He is in solitary confinement. He is in prison. He is hating himself. And we get, Ghost Wayne,
yes.
Bruce Wayne. And it is amazing.
Okay. So you're wanting to write off the previous setup
Yes.
that got us to this point. Say,
Yeah.
okay, that's a loss. We'll just
exactly.
write it off as
Yes.
you would a financial loss and move
That's
on
exactly
forward.
right. That is perfectly said, Charles. It is like, yep, okay, we've made that loss. We're going to start fresh.
Moving
Ian,
forward.
yeah, IAIN GLEN is so good as Bruce Wayne. He is so good, and he was, spoilers, he makes 2 appearances here.
Yes.
And he is.
We'll talk about the other Bruce Wayne
I
in
know
our
we're
next
going
segment.
to. Yeah, he is amazing, and Dick knows that he's just talking to himself,
right?
But that Bruce Wayne persona and the idea of him saying, it was a little weird when you went into the other room. And giving him, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this? I thought that was perfect. And I thought the scenes of Dick laying on the floor because, Bruce said, hey, you know what I do when I have a fever? I lay on a cold floor. It'll help.
Right.
And for anyone who's ever been really sick, like, and after you've been, sick,
right.
The kitchen, the bathroom tiles feel good, right? That cold,
yes.
You're like, I loved everything about that. And I love the scenes where he's fighting Bruce, but he's really fighting with himself. It's like
it's more, it was almost like he was training. And when we switch back from, I know we're going to get into this, but during that little montage where he's fighting Bruce, they kind of flip back and forth from reality to this little fantasy fight.
Yeah.
And in the reality, Dick almost looks like he's practicing his moves, like he's training or getting himself back in shape.
And I don't think we needed the scene to remind us that it's all in his head, but I think it served it well that they're going, okay, remember, this is how. And it was almost like he was cleansing himself. And it's almost like he was working out his toxins and the negativity and all his doubts. And it was just really well done. And ding, 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 point to Charles.
Yes.
I know we're going to get to that, but several things that you have been predicting, they showed true this episode, and I was so proud that we get to talk about it. So how about you? Have I oversold how good this episode, this segment, this part of the episode was?
Maybe a little, but that's okay. I'll allow it. So,
okay.
All right. So, yeah. So obviously Dick is in solitary, picking up from the events of last episode. Apparently, somehow he got an infection. Bruce makes the character, the hallucination of Bruce, or I'm going to call him Halluce Wayne.
I like that.
See what I did there? So Halluce Wayne is mentioning that, hey, rats carry pestilence. And if you notice, there was a rat left in his meal by the guard.
Yes.
And so somehow he's gotten this infection, and it's caused him to have a fever, and he's just wanting sleep. And then all of a sudden, Halluce Wayne shows up and tells Dick, hey, you're missing something. And basically kind of implies right off the bat that he's not thinking about Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
And Dick is at this point, like, well, hey, Jericho's dead. Why should I even think about Jericho?
Yeah.
There's more going on here. So it's, again, it's Dick's conscience manifesting in this form of Bruce to kind of get him back on track. It's almost like his subconscious is trying to tell him.
Yes.
And like in the back of his mind that he's forgetting something. He's overlooking something because, hey, he's a detective.
Yes.
And because he's too busy feeling sorry for himself and blaming himself for what happened, he's completely on the wrong track. And so this is kind of, I think, his subconscious telling him, hey, look, okay, you need to focus on this instead, because what you're focusing on, this little self-pity and, and martyrdom and whatnot, it's not a good look, dude. and you
Yeah.
kind of need to get back on track.
Yeah, and this is kind of we've seen this before in other TV shows where I'm missing something. You know, the
Right.
detective, the hero will, or the heroine will go, I know I'm missing something. I know I'm not thinking of something. And so I like the way they did this. And I think people who have been listening to this show,
Right.
and also I'm sure, other people have been thinking of this, like, yeah, Dick, listen. And so I really like that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll start listening, and it seems that way, that he's trying to get back on
Yes.
track. After trying to get Dick to clear his mind, especially with that cold floor, he's just, Bruce is just calling him out. He's saying, stop moping like a coward. And, Dick's, or he's telling Dick, look, it doesn't matter if you made mistakes. And Dick is just focusing on Jericho's death. Well, Bruce is countering, look, Dick, you didn't kill Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
It was Deathstroke. And he thinks that, well, hello, Crypto.
Yes, indeed.
Crypto's a little active today. He's probably feeling a little bummed because he's in Cadmus.
Yeah. Charlie. Okay.
So apparently Bruce thinks that Dick wanted a reason to give up.
Mm-hmm.
He gets angry, flips his bed. A guard comes in. Dick attacks that guard, so he gets beaten down. Like, if he isn't sick enough already, two guards just wail on him with their billy clubs.
Yeah.
And Bruce is just like, look, we're wasting time here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dick starts feeling, he starts, probably because he's been like knocked out by the guards. He's resting, and his body starts building up strength. He sees a crow in the window.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you almost expect him. That's it. I shall become the crow. No, wait, that's somebody else.
Yes.
But so Bruce comes back, and Bruce. This is where Bruce kind of points out that I can't keep, he goes, I can't help but think back to Adeline's, the apartment, and there was, there was no killing there, because Deathstroke really wants to kill you.
Yeah.
And you want to kill him, but nobody killed each other.
Yes. And
he hints that, like, maybe there's something inside Slade that he needs. So you kind of get the vibe that, okay, if this is Dick's subconscious, he's figured it out, but his conscious mind is kind of in denial over this.
Yeah, and I like the point where at one point they do a flashback, and you see Slade moving his hands.
Right. Yeah, and that was something. Remember, I mentioned that because of my brother John.
Right.
So, hi, John, if you're listening. You were on the money, John, because you spotted Deathstroke signing.
Right. Yes.
Signing the word help.
Yeah.
And it's because of subconscious Bruce that Dick figures this out.
Yeah. So
and he figures out that Jericho is alive.
Yeah. So we don't know quite.
And that's where I get to say, I told you so, because
yes, you did.
I said he was alive, and sure enough, he's alive.
Yeah, you absolutely did. You have believed that from the beginning. You have constantly said,
I'm on the record.
I don't think he's dead. And so I think that's really well done. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
About, like, who's controlling who and what's going on, because Slade has been very violent.
Right.
But I have a little more confidence that this team's going to be able to stick the landing.
Right.
Okay.
What I have to wonder, it all boils down to Jericho signing the word help.
Yes.
So, like, maybe he's trapped in there, and he's kind of like this helpless victim of what Deathstroke wants to do.
Do you think
like he's along for the ride, essentially?
Do you think he even knows his son is alive in there?
I think he does.
I'm going to think he doesn't.
Okay.
So that's my theory.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Because that's true. I think you might be onto something there because of him signing a message.
Yeah.
And maybe Slade wasn't aware that he did that.
Yeah.
So there might be something to your theory on this one here.
Yeah, that, he's because Jericho has enough control to stop him from killing, but he can't totally control him. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
So hopefully it works out. But so yeah, that's basically it. And Dick has realized that hey, Jericho's alive. What the hell am I doing in prison? Which is something we said 3 episodes ago.
Yes, we did.
So welcome to the party, pal.
As
John McClane would say from Die Hard.
Yes.
But better late than never, I guess, because, hey, we only have 2 more episodes left after this. And he makes his escape.
Yeah.
So anything else about Dick and Bruce before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Topic number 2. And this is a lot of people here, but given the way this story was structured, I think you'll understand why. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Rachel, Corey, Donna, and Dawn, and the real Bruce Wayne.
Yes. So, Charles, I'm just here for the donuts.
Yes. Yes.
That was a good line.
That was a good line.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne arranged for all of them to go there.
Right.
And I will. That is one of my lines.
Well, the default answer is he's Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's this big magic wand. All you have to do is just say the magic words. He's Batman, and it's okay.
And maybe the Bat computer is strong enough. Maybe he got Oracle to help. I'm just hand waving.
Right.
That's what you could if you need to explain it yourself. The important thing is Bruce Wayne was able to get them all to Elko's.
Yes. And that's the missing letter here, K.
Yes. So I love that they're all together.
Right.
I think that the real Bruce Wayne comes across perfect. This guy, I'm sure there's other actors who could pull this off, but he's been a great choice for Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And
an older Bruce Wayne.
Yes. And this has been, I don't think anyone had on their scorecard how many minutes he would get if you were using the sports metaphor, okay, I wonder how many minutes Bruce Wayne will play in this season. I don't think many of us would have given as many as he's gotten.
Right.
And I think if
you got IAIN GLEN, you're going to use him, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd be fools not to.
Yeah, everything about that has been great. Them all seeing each other and go, what the heck? What? So,
well, and how great was it that we actually got to see the female Titans, with the exception of Rose, who's off busy banging Jason Todd.
Yeah, she's not a real Titan.
Not yet.
Doesn't count. No, she's not.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was great to see the female Titans.
Yes, it was.
At least together in a scene, at least until Bruce Wayne shows up and ruins the whole thing with his Bruce-splaining.
Yes.
And I'm paraphrasing the mansplaining part.
Yes.
But it was kind of nice to see them together, and it's like, hey, we don't need Dick around, or Hank, or whomever,
and
to kind of be central characters in here. I was okay. Story.
Yeah, I was okay with them. They came up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I think.
With a little friction about it.
Yeah, but I think it's okay. It was close enough to, if you thought about let's divide and conquer.
Right.
Now, that wasn't that way, but I think it was they didn't mean it that way, but I think actually
it worked out.
That works out well. That
Yeah.
they've got like, okay,
Well,
let's
they got
divide and conquer. Let's do this.
We've got two things that need taken care of. We need to get Dick Grayson back, and we need to go rescue Gar. So essentially, what we had was at the end when all that was sorted out, and after Bruce leaves them.
Yeah.
And I love the way he just left abruptly, and everybody's just like, "Wait, what just happened?"
Yeah, he gets in his sports car and
drives
just drives off. Yep.
Yeah.